So, if you have ever felt like no matter what you achieve, it's never enough. If you ever opened your wardrobe and thought, I have nothing to wear, while staring at clothes piled up high. If you ever scrolled on social media and suddenly felt like your life was small compared to everyone else's highlight reel, then you've met this invisible force, which we want to talk about today. We live in a world that is designed biologically, economically, and culturally to make us feel we are lacking. And yet, the paradox which we will address is thriving in the same world is not only possible, it's powerful. So, welcome to Daily Practice with Nikhil. This is where we explore mindfulness not as some abstract idea but as lived daily art. Something that can actually change the way you experience the world. Today, we are diving into lack, why it feels so relentless, how it shapes our thoughts and behaviors, and most importantly, how to shift from that lack mentality to thriving mentality. I'll share some stories that I hope will not just inspire you, but you get some practical takeaways to see things differently. So let's start with why we feel lack in the first place. Imagine you are one of the ancestors, our ancestors 5,000 years ago, and if you miss a chance to gather food or failed to notice danger, you might not survive. Hence, you might not survive. So, your brain evolved to overemphasize what's missing. And we know this a lot. A bias towards the lack wasn't something as a flaw really. It was more of a survival mechanism. And that wiring is still here. What we call negativity bias. Our minds latch on to gap rather than the gift. There's an old Indian parable about a man who finds a precious stone while walking in the forest. Overjoyed, he takes it home thinking he is rich forever. But that night, he can't sleep. He keeps thinking, what if someone steals it? What if I lose it? What if there's a bigger, more precious stone out there? And by morning, he feels poorer than before he found the stone. And that kind of resonates with a lot of us. And it actually resonates with me. When we achieve something, we get used to it. And then there's something bigger, something better, something more precious. And that's the mind in lack. Even when it holds gold, it sees gap. Now, even in the modern culture, every advert designer knows this. And they whisper to you, you are not enough, so buy this. Every scroll on social media says you're behind. Look how perfect their life is. Biology planted the seed, and the culture waters it daily. So let's ground this into some real life scenarios. Let's say in the workplace, you get a promotion. For a day, you're happy, but soon your mind goes, why not a bigger title? Why not more money? In terms of body image, you start working out. Instead of feeling proud, you notice the one area that you have been working on which is not improving to the standard you wished. Then there is the social lack. You have friends who care, but you scroll and feel lonely because your life doesn't look like someone else's curated feed and you chase after the wrong people. These aren't personal failures by any stretch of the imagination. They are signs that we are living systems designed to keep chasing. And there's a famous fable: a dog carrying a piece of meat looks into a river, sees his reflection, and thinks it's another dog with a bigger piece. He snaps at the reflection to grab it and drops it into the water. That's us. Often in chasing more, we lose what we already have. So, how do we thrive here? So, there's been a lot of stories about lack, and now you might be wondering why. What is the idea? How can we change? And the way we do that is by not erasing lack. It will always show up, but by changing our relationship with it. Psychology shows that naming an emotion regulates it. So the next time you feel not enough, pause and say, "This is lack talking." The little distance gives you choice. There's another famous story about a Zen monk who lived with only a robe and a bowl. One night, a thief broke into his hut. The monk saw him and said, "You've come such a long way to see me. Don't leave empty handed. Take my robe." The thief, confused, took it and ran. The monk sat outside, gazing at the moon, and whispered, "I wish I could give him this too." And that's an exaggerated version of what thriving is. And he didn't decided to give it because, not because he had nothing, but because his sense of enoughness couldn't be stolen. You don't have to feel abundant about everything. Starting small, noticing the sunlight, noticing the face, the rhythm of your breath, the way a cup of tea warms your heart. Each act of noticing is like watering a seed of abundance in your nervous system. Over time, it grows and it flourishes. Lack isolates us, makes us compare, compete, hoard. Thriving often comes in community. When you share your time, your presence, your kindness, you discover abundance isn't what you hold, it's what flows between us. I remember attending a community dinner once. Everyone brought like a potluck, so one small dish. No one had much. But by the time the table was set, there was a feast. And I thought that's the opposite of lack. Everybody brought a little. Individually, we had little. Together, we had more than enough. And that's the idea of abundance. So when we dive deep into that invisible force of lack, we can change it to thriving. So here's a perspective I love. Thriving in a world of lack is a radical act. So when you declare, "I am enough, this moment is enough," you break the economy of insecurity. You stop being a consumer of fear and start being a creator of freedom. So think of it as the most dangerous thing to a system built on lack is a human being who feels whole. Let me repeat that again. The most dangerous thing a system feels is not is system. So let's repeat that again. The most dangerous thing to a system built on lack is a human being who feels whole. So be that human being. Be that human being who turns up as enough. Be that human being who turns up as whole. Be that human being that operates from a place of abundance. Be that human being who looks for abundance everywhere. My great aunt grew up with very little. No possessions as said to boast. Back in the day, there was not much to have. But she carried with her a lightness, this joy. Like I would, in her presence, I would just feel uplifted, even if she didn't say anything. And I asked, because they live in a village very far in rural India. Once I asked, don't you wish you had more? And she laughed and said, more of what? I have food, I have laughter, I have faith, I have enough. Not in those exact words, but you get the gist. She taught me that thriving isn't about abundance of material things, it's about abundance of perspective in the mind. So, here are few practices that we can try this week. So, starting off with the enough list. Each night before you go to bed, write down 3 things that were enough today. It trains your brain to notice sufficiency. A second practice, the pause before more. When you feel the urge to buy, achieve, or chase, you know that feeling where you are ready to do something which you may regret in the future or you may not. Just pause. Maybe you put that thing in the shopping basket, that extra thing you just saw, an impulse purchase. Maybe you wanted to message somebody and you feel it may be too much. Maybe you want to say something to someone and it may feel like more. So just before you do that more, pause. Do I already have enough? And sometimes the answer surprises you. A third practice to try out this week is give something away. Operating from abundance means you are already abundant, which means that there is enough and more for you, which means that you can give away a lot and still gain from that interaction. So the things you can share abundantly if you don't think you have anything are smiles, compliments, meals, clothes, compassion, kindness, and watch how giving dissolves this invisible force of lack. So let's close this session with a short practice. I invite you to close your eyes, take a deep breath in and out. Bring to mind one thing you already have, something simple. Now let the words form quietly inside. This is enough. I am enough. Sit with that for a few breaths. Feel what it's like to stop chasing just for now. Rest your attention on your breath. Notice the natural rise and fall. No need to change it. Just feel the rhythm of your breathing now. As you inhale silently, say to yourself, "This is enough." As you exhale silently, say, "I am enough." Inhale, "This is enough." Exhale, "I am enough." Inhale, "This is enough." Exhale, "I am enough." And let the words settle into your body like warm sunlight. I'd like you to imagine holding a simple clay bowl in your hands. This bowl represents your life. At first, you notice cracks, chips, emptiness. That's okay. Just see as it is. Now imagine with each breath the bowl filling drop by drop with what you already have. One drop of breath moving in your lungs. One drop for the people who you care about, even if it's just one. One drop for the earth that supports you. One drop for the moments of laughter, however rare. One drop for the wisdom you've gathered from struggles in your past. And start to watch the bowl fill slowly and steadily. Notice the bowl does not need to overflow to be beautiful. Even half full, it is enough. Even cracked, it holds life. So slowly bringing your awareness back to the breath. Inhale, "This is enough." Exhale, "I am enough." And feel your body supported by the ground. Feel your heart steady. Feel your mind a little clearer. And when you're ready, gently wiggle your fingers and toes. Stretch if you would like. And open your eyes. Carry this simple truth with you. Even in a world built on lack, you have the power to return again and again and again to enoughness. So we can't change the fact the world profits from our insecurities, but we can change how we respond. We can live as if we are abundant, as if enoughness is possible, and the choice, repeated daily, becomes freedom. So thank you for spending time with me on Daily Practice with Nikhil. If this spoke to you, share it, and someone who's caught in the cycle of never enough. And remember, the world may be built on lack, but you can choose to be built on enough. So thank you.